Hi, Kat.
Hey Tiffany, how you doing?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
How are you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Pulling through.
Yeah. So I have to admit something that I have been a Debbie Downer about companies and products in the past.
Ooh.
So I have said, and sometimes I think about the things I say on this podcast. I'm like, what is wrong with me? No, I have, aka anxiety. No,
Yes, well, fair.
I have said there's no such thing as a product that's good for the earth.
Ooh. Okay.
And I'm not saying I'm wrong yet, but my research for this episode made me think about it a little bit more.
Oh, that's intriguing.
Yeah. So there's this idea of a net positive company. Have you heard of it?
Yeah. I
You
mean,
can kind
yeah.
of figure
Yeah.
out what it means.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
basically a company that does more good than harm,
right. Ideally.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Idea. Make that clear. But the brand Paravel makes the claim that they are not only the first carbon neutral suitcase manufacturer, but they're on a mission to ensure the planet is better off because of Paravel's existence.
Ooh.
So it's like, that's a pretty
That's
big
bold.
claim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay. I mean, because most of the time I feel like these companies are like, oh, we're carbon neutral because we plant trees every time we tear down an entire forest.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's not like they're actually preventing harm. They're just
Yeah.
covering, it's like band-aids. So, but
Yes.
this is a different idea.
Well, we'll get into it.
Okay.
We'll see. But I wanted to just kind of I want to, at the end of this, talk about this idea of a net positive company because I was like
Okay.
so intrigued. I was like, is that possible for a
Yeah.
company to do more good than harm?
Yeah.
And I have to point out up front, Paravel was started by a Rockefeller. That is just has to be said from the jump.
Okay. Well, sometimes people with money do things, I guess.
Sometimes they do things, yeah. So, today we'll find out if Paravel lives up to its marketing claims or if that might be missing the point altogether.
All right.
Welcome to Greening Up My Act. All right, cool. So, here we are. That was my intro.
It was a good intro. That was a great
I was,
intro.
yeah, I was kind of like, how do I introduce this topic? Because what I was most interested in was the whole like net positive company. So,
Right.
I was like, I'm just gonna start with that because that
Oh,
it's
yeah.
fascinating. Because I've totally been like, no product can be good for the
Yeah.
earth.
Nothing that makes money as its main basis can, or
Yeah,
drives
or
consumerism. Yeah.
exactly. Yep. Yeah. So how about we start? Do you mind a real quick, brief breakdown of who the hell we are?
I can do that. So we are Tiffany and Kat, Greening Up My Act, two marketing writers who have taken it upon themselves to do research into so-called green-friendly or eco-friendly or sustainable products, services, or things in general, and use our marketing lenses to decide what's gobbledygook, greenwashing, as we call it, green hooey, and what's really going to contribute to a more sustainable lifestyle on a personal level, as well as, a global level. And
Yep.
yeah, we're pros at marketing, seeing through the marketing, and we want to share that with us. But we're also researching things and kind of learning some science and some other interesting facts to enlighten our friends so that you don't have to do this kind of research.
Yes. We're doing it so you don't have to.
Exactly.
You're welcome. All right, cool. Yeah, so let me get in. I'll talk about my sources real quick. I'm going to scan down them. I had like 7. We try to stick to 5, but we never do. So it doesn't really matter. So I looked obviously at Paravel's website, and then National Geographic had an article on sustainable travel, which I didn't actually use that much, but I left it in there.
Cool.
A big one was CNN. This was fascinating. So CNN had one on Paravel. It was like basically a review. And the Harvard Business Review talked about net positive companies. I looked at Travel and Leisure, which is, I think, kind of like a fancy pants.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's pretty like, if you have $1 billion, where are you going to go? Here's
What
what we Turks and Caicos, and it's the autumn. Yeah.
Which yacht would you like?
Yes.
Here's our favorites of 2024. So anyway, they talked about how to recycle old luggage, which was kind of ironic.
Oh, that's
but
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it was a cute little article. And then I looked at TerraCycle,
Okay.
because they're recyclers.
Cool.
So, all right, what are we talking about today? We are talking about Paravel. They are a luxury luggage company that claims to be sustainable, which lots of these companies we look at claim. They were started by two co-founders, Andy Krantz. I don't know anything about him.
Okay.
It's fine. He exists. And I don't know how... Andre Rockefeller. Of course, her first name would be impossible to pronounce. It's, I think, French. Don't quote me on that, but Indre. Anyway, I'm going to call her... Yeah, that's it. I don't know French. I'm not a French girly, as we've covered on... Anyway, I'm going to call her Rockefeller.
Okay, Ms. Rockefeller.
So I just had to point out that she's a Rockefeller. She married into the family, so I think it's a little bit different, but she still is a part of the family and their resources. And I just have to point out, did I say this before on the podcast? I learned that the Rockefellers originally made their fortune from oil and from massacring their workers who were striking against horrible working conditions.
I think we may have brought this up in the past. It sounds familiar.
I think I did, and I just had to again. It's called the Ludlow Massacre. Look it up. Okay. Anyway.
I'm sorry, I keep checking on my dog.
No, you're good. She's good.
She coughed something up on command. Sorry. Yeah. It's National Dog Day, by the way, too. So.
Aww.
Hi, Ruby. Hi.
Hi, Ruby.
Yeah.
She's, I think, outside sunbathing.
Oh, good girl. Okay. Yeah. So the Ludlow Massacre, got it. Yeah.
Yep.
We don't love what the Rockefellers have done in the past. We'll say
yes.
That much.
So just had to throw that out there. All right. So she was the one, her and this guy named Andy Krantz started this in, I think, 2016.
Okay.
They started it after visiting Antarctica, and I found this kind of interesting. It's like, well, yeah, you had the money to go visit Antarctica.
Of course. Yeah. For this time I was in Antarctica.
Just casual stroll.
You know.
But they at least Rockefeller visited Antarctica. I don't know if the other guy did, but they decided for their brand they want to turn sustainability from being a priority to being the priority, because they saw how much the ice is melting, and it terrified them.
It's so sad that you have to go see that firsthand, like Doubting Thomas. You got to go stick your fingers in Jesus's wound to believe it happened. Yeah.
It's insane. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
So, and they say we must protect the health of our environment so that there is an environment left to explore, which, fair.
Okay. Yeah.
Fair. These are all fair things to say. Okay, so what eco-friendly claims is this company making? We're going to focus on a couple of them, but basically, they claim that they're sustainable, and they call themselves the world's first carbon-neutral suitcases. Okay. This is about one specific line called the Aviator line, and so I was kind of like, okay, what does that mean?
Right.
How can you be a carbon neutral suitcase? So it turns out they do this by reducing and offsetting their carbon emissions, which we've talked about carbon offsets.
Not as good as just not doing the thing in the first place.
Yeah, it's hogwash is what The Guardian calls it, worthless. At least the company, carbon offsetting company that they looked at.
Okay. Yeah. It's green.
I don't know.
It's green hue. It's green hooey.
It's green hooey. Yeah. For a large portion, for most of it. this company, The Guardian, looked at was like 94% of it was a big waste. So you can go back and listen to our tree planting episode or tree planting program episode if you're interested in more about that, because Kat covered that.
Yeah.
So, but that allows, because they do these carbon offsets, that allows them to say world's first carbon neutral suitcase.
Congratulations, you have marketing. Yeah. Green marketing, hurrah.
Yes, yeah. And they say they offset their carbon emissions, and they say they're offsetting any carbon emissions generated when they source the material, when they create the baggage, when they assemble it, when they ship it and deliver it to your home. And then they also say they offset the emissions from the first journey, your first journey. So your first
As a
trip,
bonus.
as a bonus. CNN just gobbled that up.
I'm sure they're like,
loved
oh, it's delicious. Look how they're spreading their eco-friendliness like a virus. Yeah. It's the herpes of eco-friendliness.
Yeah, so I found that a little bit annoying, knowing that it's probably a big load of hooey, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. It's part of their marketing. So I think that is sort of like you probably can't really claim that, but that's just me.
I'm just imagining them calling you after you receive your luggage, like, Madam, could you tell us, what is your planned first trip? Private jet, again to Turks and Caicos. Where will you be staying? Yes. Private driver? Oh, you're riding bicycles to the hotel. Excellent. Okay, we've calculated that we're going to need to remove 127.2 kilograms of CO2 from the air. We'll get right on that. Enjoy your trip. Buy another suitcase from us for your next trip so we can also remove the carbon footprint from that. Have a wonderful day. Can you imagine? Like, that's
So
concierge
oh my
sustainability.
God.
Yeah.
I love that and hate it. Yeah, well, so they say it's based on an estimated
Of
first
course.
journey,
Of
but
course.
I would love if that existed.
Oh, first class. Okay, that's worth twice as much. Estimated. Okay.
Yeah, and so, so it's just kind of
Know your audience, I guess.
kind of
Yeah.
wild. Yeah, they're very good at marketing to the
Yeah.
audience for
Yeah.
sure. Because that makes you feel like, okay, I can go anywhere.
Oh my God, I'm going to Hong Kong twice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
back and forth just for fun.
Just for funsies.
Another thing they do, they incorporate upcycled and eco-certified materials throughout their product.
That
which,
I like.
yeah, which is, it's good. And we've looked into a lot of these different types of things. So, for example, the lining on their suitcase, at least one of them is made from 15 upcycled plastic water bottles.
No.
Fine.
Okay. I mean, as
Plastic
long as
sucks,
yeah,
but
plastic does
fine.
suck, and as long as the production doesn't create more of a problem than
Yeah.
just
Plastic?
throwing those in the landfill would be. But yeah,
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly. Like releasing more gases. Plastic is. We should probably do an episode on microplastics because I'm reading so much about it and I'm like, holy fajoli.
yeah, they're
It is
terrifying.
really scary.
They're
Because
hair-brained.
when I did the plastics episode, I didn't. It was so big. It was our only two-parter.
Well, and that was
I
just on
couldn't-
recycling.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I couldn't look into microplastics. I wanted to, but then I've been doing it recently and I'm like, oh my God. This
They're
is so awful.
they're in your man's testicles.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yikes.
Exactly.
Yikes.
Yeah. And in fetuses, right?
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Or wombs. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're in the uterus.
Yeah.
They might be in our ovaries.
Probably. Anyway.
Doing down there.
How you doing, plastic buddy?
I talk to my ovaries sometimes. Yeah.
Love
Bionic
it.
ovaries. Yeah.
So they do that lining made from upcycled plastic water bottles. I don't know what that means. Upcycled. But I guess
It's using, instead of like, because recycling would mean you remake it into its original form
yeah.
to use it. So this would be they're taking the plastic water bottles and
Oh,
making
right.
them into something new. So it's instead of it being plastic bottles again, they're turning it into rayon, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like a lot of companies say recycled in that case anyway, but
They do. I think upcycling is more trendy because it's like,
Oh,
it was
probably.
this trash. And that might be it, is that they're not taking it out of Well, see, that's where are they getting the plastic? Is it just like her assistant, Mrs. Rockefeller's assistant, is just sitting there tossing water bottle or like collecting. Whenever Andra finishes one of her Fijis, I take it and I put it in this bin. And every day and a half, we have enough to make 3 suitcases. Like where are they getting these bottles from?
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't say that like up front on their website. So
Interesting.
yeah, because some other company, I think it was, shoot, I can't remember. I know that they were from the Netherlands, but it was the ear cleaner one,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
the swabs. Last Object, that's what it was. They said that they had specified that it was like plastic that was about to go into the ocean that this NGO collected for them. So they told you where it was coming from.
See,
This
that's
I don't know.
cool. Yeah. So
Yeah.
kind of, I'm sorry, I'm just imagining all these scenarios where it's like Andra and Andy were sitting around in Turks and Caicos drinking plastic, water out of like Evian out of plastic bottles. And I'm so sad this isn't glass. Do they recycle it? And like, no, they don't. Goodness, get the yacht master together. Make sure the butler knows to collect all of the water bottles and from all of our friends on this trip. And they're like, what we should do with this is we should make sustainable luggage. And like that's where they get their plastic water bottles from is
No,
Andy's
but
yacht.
remember, it wasn't Turks and Caicos. It was in Antarctica.
Oh, sorry, I know.
So they were in their
Shoot.
fluffy sealskin jackets
Yeah.
and just crying over it. Anyway, no.
This water's so cold and yet it's
It's
so
okay
plastic.
to be it's okay to be rich, but anyway,
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I guess I'm in a bad mood today about the rich.
I understand. I had the same reaction, so
Okay.
it doesn't mean that she's not trying, right?
Okay, yes, I can't judge people based on their economic conditions,
Right.
one way or the other.
Well, we can a little bit, but
Maybe.
if you're punching up, it's okay.
Oh, I'm punching up. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool, cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So then they also have a recycled polycarbonate exterior. They recycled the zippers, meaning they don't recycle them, but they use recycled materials to create their zippers
Okay.
and their aluminum handles. They also have a code of social responsibility where they have stringent guidelines on labor, wages, safety, and environmental standards.
Okay, I like that.
So all these things were good.
They're like,
None
we're
of
not
this is
having another
bad.
Lidlow massacre under our watch. We have standards. No one's getting murdered in our factory.
God, the irony. Is it irony? Anyway,
I don't, maybe it's learning.
just evolution.
Yeah, there you go.
So okay, and the another way they do so that's kind of like the good one of the things that they're doing. The other thing they do is they plant trees.
Of course.
Of course.
In
they do.
Iran or Afghanistan where trees shouldn't be planted, or do they do it somewhere trees are supposed to be planted?
Well, I think I didn't look totally. They work with this one called Eden Reforestation Project, and I just did a scan of their reviews basically, and they were overall pretty good, at least as far as financial, because it was whatever website it is that reviews NGOs
Okay.
labeled them as good financially.
Okay.
So I don't know. Couldn't find anything quickly about like are they actually effective, but one place I saw was Nepal. So at least Nepal has trees,
Yeah.
generally speaking. So.
Yeah. They're like, we planted a bunch of, wasn't it? It was acacias, right? And eucalyptus.
That
And
sounds
it's
right.
like, these aren't native.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh my God. Now that I've been learning more about native and invasive species, I'm just like,
We
that
just planted a
horrifies
tree.
me.
You're like, yeah, the tree took all the water from all the other trees. And yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
we'll let it go.
Yeah.
We'll let it
Yeah.
go this time.
Yeah. So again, you can go back to our tree planting program episode if you're curious about this whole like tree planting.
Yeah, why we don't love reforestation.
Yeah. Well, it's not even reforestation.
That's the thing. It can't be. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like reforestation. I think of like a managed forest where people actually know what they're doing.
Yeah.
These tree planting programs are like some dum-dums up in
Yeah.
New York who are like,
We're
let's
planting
plant some
an
trees."
avocado orchard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, if you're curious about why we're like shitting all over it, you can go back and listen to that episode as well. So, they can't yet recycle their luggage, but they are supposedly looking into it, is what they say. So
Okay.
that's good.
I mean, that's a start.
That's
yeah.
good. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to take a quick break and
Okay.
then we are going to get into the cost of this luggage and we're going to talk about net positive companies.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. So, how much do you think? How much do you think one of these pieces of the smallest piece of luggage, smallest cheapest piece of luggage costs?
Well, I don't know. It's a banana. How much could it cost? $10?
Exactly. I just said that
Um,
to Joe the other day.
okay, so I had to buy, and we won't go into why, but I had to buy some luxury luggage.
Oh,
And
okay.
it ended up, I think it was $1,200
For one piece?
for a roller bag and a suitcase.
Okay. This is not that. This isn't that bad.
Oh, okay. Oh, geez.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, well, I just outed myself. And now you can punch up to me. I mean, it was a tax write-off for me because I have to travel so much, but yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Um, no, so this is specifically their aviator line. I didn't look at their other lines, but this is the carbon neutral one, quote
Okay.
unquote.
Oh, they make
Um,
non-carbon neutral ones?
I'm not I think so, because I think it's the aviator
Oh,
line, and maybe they only do the carbon offsets with that line or
oh
something.
my God.
I don't know. Don't
Hypocrites. Okay.
again, don't quote me on this. I don't
Okay.
know. I actually don't think they're overall that bad. We're gonna get into that,
Okay.
but
We'll talk. I'm
anyway.
sorry. I'm just like, oh my
No, no,
God.
it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, but does it matter if the
Mm,
carbon offsets do nothing? Anyway,
yeah,
so
right.
okay. So this is their aviator line. Again, didn't look into the other ones, so I couldn't tell you anything in detail about them. But the cheapest, smallest one is
Okay.
$425.
Yeah, that's okay. That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, and the biggest aviator 100 grand
Mm-hmm.
is $600.
That's probably in line with what the luggage I bought was. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and it's funny because that like sounds like a lot to me. Well, it sounds like a lot, but kind of not as much as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, I was like, "Ugh, $10 million.
Yeah,
Or like, yeah, your gold-studded Louis Vuitton aviator bag or whatever it is.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. But there is another sustainable luggage in quotes here brand called Impact. They're
Hmm.
based in Germany, and they sell their large suitcase for 160 euro, which is like
Wow.
$178.
Yeah.
So that's like quite a bit less expensive.
Yeah, that's quite a
So
markup.
I didn't look into that company, so maybe they do a lot less in terms of like social responsibility or something, but
Yeah.
or maybe they don't recycle their stuff or what, I don't know. They did on their website say that their material is sourced from Asia. No, no, sorry. Manufacturing happens in Asia. And I was like,
Oh.
is that like a marketing rephrasing of China?
Well,
That's what it
or
felt like.
Indonesia,
Oh, well,
or
that's
I mean,
true.
that's
That's true.
Asia is quite large.
It
Like,
is. And it doesn't really tell you much.
no, that encompasses a lot. And yeah,
Yeah. But
Asia.
if they're sustainable, it's like this sustainable luggage company and they're able to sell it for a lot less. So
Yeah.
I found that kind of interesting. So it's definitely like on the pricier end, but
Okay. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's expensive luggage.
$600, that's like a flight to
Yeah.
used to be Europe.
Yeah.
Not
I
anymore,
think
but
it
it
is.
used
I
to
think you
be.
could probably fly to Turkey
Oh yeah, maybe. Or
or
Paris is
London.
usually a little cheaper.
Yeah.
And London, yeah.
Hmm.
So okay. So there's a price. Is that something a normal person could afford? Probably not. Normal person? Probably not. I don't know. It's hard because these companies, you don't know how long are they going to last. Like if it lasts your entire life, sure maybe. But it's a pretty new company. They're not really vetted, so what if it falls apart after 2 years? You know what I mean? I don't know. That would be my concern, but and then if it falls apart,
Yeah.
what do you do with it when you're done with it? Because you can't
Yeah.
recycle it.
Well, and then
Um,
that's one of the things that this company that I bought my luggage from does out of, a repair. You take it into a place and they'll repair it or replace it, right?
what's the company name?
Oh, Briggs and something. I just asked. I asked the guy like, "What's the most expensive looking luggage?"
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like this one.
Okay.
This is
Briggs
what
and
all the
Mortar.
yeah Briggs and Ripley or some English sounding name. Yeah.
Love it. Um, yeah, actually, the impact one talks about repairability as well. So I think it's like certain things you can repair on the other bags, but I
Okay.
didn't see anything about repairability on
The aviator line.
Paravels yet.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
maybe one day, I don't know. But that is kind of the ideal in my mind, especially if it's something you can repair yourself. Like for
Yeah.
example, we bought a repair kit for our tent because it was just our tent. The
The
poles, the
pole.
elastic was
Yeah.
stretched out,
Overstretched. Yeah.
and all you had to do was like retie it. It was
Yeah.
so easy, and yeah, I love stuff like that. So
Yeah. Like I can't fix the zippers on my one of my bags, and it's
yeah.
like that. Or like right now, the handle is breaking
Oh
on
yeah, handles and zippers.
like
If you can
just fix the
replace
fucking handle.
those,
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
or wheels.
Yeah.
If you
Wheels are
can
big.
replace those three things, you have a real company. Like I
Yeah.
would totally buy that. That would
Yeah.
be awesome. Maybe it exists. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, so there are ways to recycle or upcycle your luggage. For those who are curious.
Okay.
So one is you can actually DIY a recycle job, basically, where you break it apart. You break it down into its individual parts. So you break it into the plastic, you break it into you separate the metal, like the zippers, maybe. I didn't look into it too much. Anything metal on it from the cloth, if you have like a cloth recycling, whatever. So you can do it that way. That sounds like a shitload of work. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't know
Yeah.
how to do that other than just take a box cutter to it, but
Yeah.
and maybe some screwdrivers. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
And I definitely don't have the right sewing equipment for any of, yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, unsewing equipment, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Seam ripping
Seam
equipment.
rip. Yeah. Like, that sounds pretty heavy duty.
Right. So there's that. I mean, that is an option if you're in the mood for a project. Or TerraCycle, which we've talked about them before. They're sort of the wider, more available Ridwell.
Yeah.
And Ridwell might even have something too, actually.
I think they take luggage once in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can pay $133 from $133 to $319 depending on the size of your luggage to have it recycled, which I'm
That's
like,
almost the
hot
same price
damn.
as a
Yes.
aviator bag.
Exactly. I'm like, maybe I would just rip it apart myself. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like that's a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Well, and I don't know. You're probably going to talk about other options too, but like even
Barely.
even luggage that isn't fully functional, like if it's got some use left in it, they say they donate it to foster programs
Oh, okay.
because foster children often don't have anything to put their stuff in when they move from home to home. And so a suitcase that just zips shut, even if the front pockets don't work and the wheels maybe don't work, is so much better than the trash bag they might have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, you
before
could
your
definitely
luggage gets to
call.
that
That's a good
point,
idea. And I would
yeah,
probably call to ask.
yeah, see,
But
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, because you can donate it to Goodwill. They'll take because people need luggage, you know.
Right. Yeah, or another thing Travel and Leisure said, which I found so ironic. This is the irony. This is where irony comes in. Is they were talking about upcycling it, which actually their one idea for upcycling was pretty good, which is using it for storage.
That is good.
Yeah. Like that makes sense. Instead of going out and buying a big plastic tub, if you have an old suitcase, you could use it for like
Yeah,
winter or summer
yeah,
clothes or whatever you need.
and it stacks nicely, and you can move it
Right.
easily. Yeah, that's smart. I mean, I have giant suitcases that my dad got me at Costco, like when I was in college, that I still use. Like if I'm going on a really long vacation and I get a checked bag, okay. Like on my road trip that I did for 2 months, I use that. But like also when I move,
Yes.
like it's a great moving tool. Like 50 fewer boxes because I can use it, dump it out at the new house, come back, get more stuff. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so storage or moving, any of the above. And they had other kind of weird ideas, like use it for decoration.
Yeah,
I
if
was
you
like,
have like, yes,
what?
again, your grandmother's Louis Vuitton trunk
Right.
and her like train case. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have my grandmother's train case and I used to use it for makeup and stuff. It's kind of
Oh,
right now,
cool.
I would need to clean it out. But yeah, I used it to move actually when I moved to college. Like I used it to move stuff. That
Oh,
was
nice.
because it's hard. It's a hard case and it has a tall top, so you can put tall stuff in it.
Oh, nice.
It's a really cool piece of
Yeah.
luggage, but I can't carry it on an airplane. But yeah.
Right, right, right. Yeah, and you probably wouldn't want to check it because my God, would that get destroyed?
No, yeah, no, thank you. But
The
it's
whole
cool. I mean,
top would be
I
ruined.
should probably bring it out and like, I don't know, put something cool in it, like wine accessories or something. And
Yeah, or blankets if it's easy
it's
to open.
small. It's a train case. It's for makeup.
Oh, okay. I don't know
Yeah.
what a train case is, but now I
Yeah,
can
I
kind of
know, right?
picture it.
You have to know all the pieces of luggage. You have your train case and your trunk and your
Yep, yep, yep.
your overnight bag and your undernight bag and your. But yeah, did you ever see what was that Wes Anderson movie where it's like the movie's not that great, but the luggage is great? It's the one where they're all on a train, and it's got like
Oh,
Adrian Brody and
of
the
course it
Wilson
does.
brothers, and they're all
Of
and
course it
Angelica
does.
Houston is their mother. Darjeeling Limited.
Oh, that was on a train. Okay, I've only seen it once, and it's been so long I would never have remembered that that was even on a train.
The luggage is supremely
Of course, yeah.
attractive and
I'm
beautiful,
sure.
and I
Aesthetic,
would
yeah.
display that in my house
Yes,
as
yes.
decoration.
So this article talked about if you have like a hard shell,
Yeah,
which yes, like that, then you can make it like into a coffee table.
yeah,
In my mind, I was thinking like I have a hard shell suitcase, like rolly
yeah.
suitcase. And I'm like, that would be the world's ugliest
It's
coffee
just like
table.
blah. Yeah.
It's
No, I and
blue.
like we have the 80s, like my grandparents' luggage from the 80s that's like hard shell, but it's like sloped.
Okay,
So
yeah,
like
that
you
wouldn't
can't
work.
put anything on it. It just like
Yeah,
slide off the sides, you know? Like this
right.
isn't yeah.
Yeah, so maybe there are ways, I don't know, but I think storage is makes. You can look at the Travel and Leisure article if you're curious, but I was like, I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'd do any of those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so finally, we talk about does the Earth-friendly message need to come back to Earth? And this is where I was like, First off, yes, it does. Because they say things like we are focused on initiatives that go beyond neutrality and offsetting harm and instead create a net. Okay. This is
Okay, okay,
where
okay.
this is
Reset,
where I
reset.
got a little bit confused because not confused but like unsure because like yes, on one hand it feels like they're saying we make the planet a better place. On the other hand, when you read a little bit deeper into what they're actually saying, they're saying we're trying to make the planet a better place.
Oh, well, yes, they're hedging because they can't make
Yes.
promises, right? Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. We know this. We know this because we're marketing writers. So, they say things like I mentioned, we're on a mission to ensure the planet is better off. We're on a
Okay.
mission to
Right.
ensure the planet is better off because of Paravel's existence. They're basically saying we're trying to get there.
Yeah.
And then I read this Harvard Business Review article that basically answered the question like, is there such a thing as a net positive company?
Right.
Harvard Business Review defines net positive company as one that improves well-being for everyone that it impacts and at all scales. What they say is no company has yet reached this lofty goal.
Bingo.
But a growing number have begun the journey.
Okay.
So, for example, their leaders are pushing governments to go faster on climate policy. They're setting goals to become carbon positive, et cetera, et cetera. So there are a lot of companies, and I think the Harvard Business Review said that like most of the top companies are doing this because there's demand from consumers.
Yes.
Because we want our companies to be more
Responsible.
is responsible the right term though? Yes. That's where I get it's hard because it's like we want them to do better,
Yeah.
but we don't really hold them accountable
Well, and it's because it's
yet.
convoluted. And like
It is.
because we don't have time to watchdog them, right? We want
Right.
them to do it without us having to beg them to do it and without them hiding.
Right.
We want them to do it without green hooey. We want them to be honest about it. We want them to be transparent about it
Transparent is big, yeah.
and straightforward about it so that like we don't want to have to ask. And we don't have
Yeah.
to dig if we do ask.
Right.
We don't want to find that you said like you're carbon neutral, but it's just because you're planting a forest in, a place that should be prairie land anyway,
Iraq. Yeah, exactly.
but
Yeah.
you're tearing down, natural wetlands in Florida while you're doing it. Like we don't want that. Like,
Right.
yeah, I agree. We want them to be moral, but we want them to be transparent about their moral too.
Right.
So, yeah,
And my big question is it too much to ask for a company that is not a human being, even though we treat them like human beings,
to be
to be
moral.
moral?
And I think that is a resounding answer is that if the end goal of the company is to increase consumerism, which is to increase profits, no, right? What keeps coming down to you can't make the end goal of the company to produce a product that sells more year over year and quarter over quarter and be actually sustainable. It's not possible.
Well, the
So
interesting
far.
thing is that this article says Unilever. It uses Unilever as one of the big examples, and it's like tops the charts on in terms of its push for sustainability, push for transparency. It's lately the last several years been like number one, and their profits are also going up, 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 up. So they don't necessarily like. Yes, you have to sell more shit to make money. Theoretically, I'm not a business major,
I mean, that's
but
that's kind of like the problem with capitalism, right?
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, well, and then I was just thinking about, yeah, Unilever was in a whole bunch of hot water for like the dry shampoo debacle, right? With
But weren't they the
benzene.
Yes, but weren't they the company that was like, "Holy shit, I can't believe."
One of them, yeah.
I can't
But it's
remember which
still,
one it
it's like,
was.
I kind of feel like that's a thing is that in this drive to mass produce stuff, it's impossible to prioritize profit and standards that would make this kind of thing like you're in a rush to make industry work faster, right? And commercialism has to be faster and more efficient. And it's really hard to create processes that can account for all of the possibility of like benzene or lead or.
Yeah. And one thing that this article kind of helped me with that is that it's saying you don't have to be perfect.
No, and I agree. Like
And I fall into that trap all the time. That's why I
yeah,
said no product is good. Everything is evil and everything
right.
sucks.
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I still need to brush my teeth,
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so it's like, what's
So,
the least harmful thing I can do? Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
And accidents. Like we've talked about like the moral responsibility. There are times when corporations are evil and they're just out to do
Yeah.
evil and they're out to
Totally.
cover up their evil. But a lot of times it's just you get 4,000 people working together and mistakes are going to happen,
Right.
and accidentally it turns into this, oh, we didn't even know we were causing an environmental catastrophe. And so it's like
Yes.
that's where the system gets in the way, is that the system allows for environmental catastrophe to happen even without human intervention. That's where it's
Right.
scary. That's where
Yeah.
like consumerism is so terrifying.
Yeah.
Is that drive creates that system that creates that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think it's like, yeah, you can't have in our current system, again, there's no such thing as perfection, and trying to hold even really good companies to that standard is unfair.
Yeah, and it's also probably unproductive.
Yeah, it's self-defeating.
Yes.
Like if your goal is to have more sustainable, yes, the enemy of the good. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And one thing that I really appreciated, I actually bolded this. This is the only bolded thing in my entire notes, was that the Harvard Business Review said that one of the things that net positive companies, at least companies that are trying to be net positive, are they do as opposed to other types of companies is they propose solutions rather than wait for or complain
Okay.
about regulations that tell them what to
I
do.
think that is really good. Like being innovative in trying to and like trying to push that to be making that innovation the new industry standard, that rather than waiting for the government to do it.
Yes.
That's
And
great.
they also are supposed to work, well, they have to, for anything to get done, they have to work with a broad coalition. So the government, they have to work with NGOs, they have to work with the private sector. So, like oil companies, they have to get them on board too.
Yeah.
So it's this extremely broad, it's like kind of wild to think that a company has this amount of, first off, power, and
Yeah.
second, responsibility. It's like, isn't that what our government is supposed to do? But
Yeah.
it doesn't. So, like, I guess companies have to step in, and
Yeah.
like maybe that could be bad, and maybe it
Yeah.
could be good, and it just really depends. But um,
Yeah.
so I mean, it kind of made me, it made me rethink all of it, because it's like a company doesn't have to be perfect, and they don't have to do everything all at once,
Right.
because it's like you can take two steps back in one area to make this other thing, like to improve this other part.
Yeah.
You
That
know,
makes
like
sense.
it all works together. So you might have to reduce your sustainability in this one sector, and then in order to help this other sector, and then like try to figure it out
Yeah. That makes
as you
sense.
go.
Yeah.
And so basically, the Harvard Business Review ends with this quote: "We need the willpower to change how business is conducted, and to proactively choose to improve well-being for all. The net positive model allows companies to thrive because of their efforts to serve the world." So it's an interesting idea. So, and it's like change takes time, and I need to remind myself that,
Right.
even if we don't necessarily have time.
Yeah.
That's the
Well,
problem.
yeah.
But I'm also thinking about Paravel, because it's like the solutions that they have at hand right now, they are carbon offsets. They are tree planting programs.
Right. That's what's
These are
available.
the things that they can supposedly do to become more sustainable. So it's like no freaking wonder they're doing those things.
Yeah.
They're probably fully aware that they may not be as, effective as they wish they would be. But it's sort of like, what the fuck else are you going to do right now?
Yeah. 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 I agree.
Again, maybe it's just like it's good that we're criticizing it, but maybe it's just like the first iteration.
Yeah.
Like maybe this is where we start.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It kind of
Something
just
to
made
think
me,
about.
yeah,
Yeah.
it made me think a lot, and I just was like, I'm been such a negative Nancy.
Well, I'm just going to answer with something my roommate would say. Oh, well, I never intend to buy luggage.
I thought about your roommate. Oh my
Never intend to
god.
travel.
I
So why
thought
would I need
about
luggage?
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you guys missed, I think it was the last episode we talked about that.
Airplanes. Yeah. He's like, I never intend to travel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. I was
Just
like, I
opt
need to
out. Yeah.
be more, is his name Mike?
Michael.
Be more like Michael.
Be more like Michael. Yeah.
WWMD. No, I seriously thought about him, because it's true. It's like at the end of the day, you're not making the world a better place by buying a Paravel
No.
suitcase. Not
No.
yet. Maybe one day, but that's
Yeah.
going to take a lot of time. And in the meantime, it probably makes way more sense to just not
Yeah.
buy
Just
it.
go to Goodwill and find something that functions.
Exactly. Or discover a repairable luggage company.
Yeah.
Because let me know. Hit me up.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway.
Sure. Travel Pro. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So finally, we're gonna end with our granola rating, and we can actually do it for
We
this
can do it
one.
this
It's
week?
like
Yeah.
a granola rating. So we rate each company that we look at from 1 to 5 granolas based on like how much green hooey is in their claims, and how like feasible or realistic it is for an average everyday person to do this thing, to implement this thing in their life, and yeah,
Yeah.
try to become more sustainable or whatever. So it goes from soggy to break your tooth off, which is super crunchy. Soggy,
Just
you
the
don't
best.
want.
You don't want soggy.
Soggy's
granola.
bad.
Yeah.
Just emphatically. There's no. We're
It's
not
gross.
debating this.
Sorry, Eric Wellman. It's gross.
There's no debate here, people.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. I like soggy cereal, so I can't
Yeah.
really talk. Anyway,
I know. Who am I to talk?
so I rated this one like 2.5.
Fair.
So it's between mushy and chewy, because I felt like they seem like they're really trying, and I do believe that. I think the options they have at hand are really limited. And yet I think they could probably do a lot more in terms
Fair.
of like start that recycling program, whatever. Like there are other options.
It begs a question for me, like, what are existing brands already doing? Like, what does Samsonite do, and what does Travel Pro do, and what do these other luggage
As far as
companies do?
recycling,
Or creating sustainable products, or I mean, like, haven't even considered looking at their sustainability.
oh, I bet Sam's. I mean, I don't know if they care. That's why I couldn't give this like a soggy because it's like
Yeah,
at least the company cares and they're like making it their what self-proclaimed main goal.
yeah,
I don't know if Samsonite would even have it in
yeah.
their.
I
I mean,
wonder.
maybe it's like bottom of their list because they have to have. I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know
so
anything about
everybody
Samsonite.
needs a sustainability statement, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yeah. It's like
interesting.
a requirement these days. Yeah. So, yeah, I think they're pretty good for a Rockefeller brand.
Less Lidlow massacre, more recycling.
More luggage
Yeah,
massacre. Anyway.
luggage production. Cool. Well, yeah, that's very interesting. That made me think a lot more than I thought sustainable luggage was going to. So thank you.
Yeah, same. I was like, this could be really simple, but I'm just really intrigued by this whole concept. So,
Cool.
all right, cool. Well, next week we have eco-friendly. Wait, did we decide?
I think we're going to do eco-friendly quote unquote travel, which will include, I mean, eco-friendly hotels and or over tourism. So this is going to be a pretty broad topic next week. I think we're going to finish our season a little early just because
Our lives are
our lives are
rough.
hectic yeah. And maybe we'll make a Patreon episode about that. If you want to check us out at
Yes.
patreon.com/greeningupmyact. It's $5 a month to get some intimate conversations with me and Tiffany, and I think this next month is going to be pretty much a doozy. So
Yes,
tune in if you
absolutely.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we appreciate you listening, and yeah, this has been a rodeo this season, I think.
Oh my God, it's been so nuts. It's been like scraping things together, and
Yeah.
we appreciate everybody's patience. 'Cause
Yeah,
I think
thank
we're
you.
not alone. I've heard so many people who are like,
Yeah.
"This year sucked."
Everyone is underwater right now. So
Yeah.
thank you for treading it with us. And,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. But yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for listening.
Yep. See you next week.
Okay.